It's that time again. TMO off the grid.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, so I was kind of browsing around online and I found this Camp Chef pellet grill. It was a used one, real cheap online. It was needed a little cleaning up and a couple of bolts needed to be tightened, and I kind of had to do a little bit of cleanup on the grill, but it does work and it seems to work fairly fine. But I thought, hey, what could I do to improve this thing a little bit? And I found on Amazon a new controller, a digital style controller. So I thought, hey, if I got that, I could maybe look a little more modern. Wasn't sure if it would fit. It had the old analog style, so here we go. Let's dive into it. Pretty easy to remove it. I just undid the screws and dropped that down, and you can see all this wiring cluster in here. There's basically 4 wire clips. Those need to come off. And there's 4 wire clips on that new one. The neat thing is the original one was labeled A, B, C, and I think maybe letter 4 or something. So I popped those off and I went through and labeled the wires coming out of the barbecue itself and the wires coming from the new controller so they match the same. Some of the wires I had to trace because the colors were a little bit different. And then I had this sensor wire that goes inside. I just went ahead and left that attached for the time being. Now this kit that I got came with a new sensor, nice brand new. So I'm going to remove this just with a screwdriver. It just takes 2 screws and it should just pop right out of there. Then there's a wire that's attached that goes back to that controller. So you just kind of pivot it out of the way and pull that out, and then there's another bird's nest of wiring there. I have no idea why it's so long, but the new one's long like that too. So I'm just going to cut this out of there and then fish this all the way through. When you put the new one in, you got to go in this little hole right up at the top, and then you pull it out, and then you need to feed it in sideways so that it goes in between the grill itself and the box where all the controls are. And when I screw it together, I really like using a magnetic screwdriver. If you don't have one of these, it's worth picking up. They're only a couple bucks over at like Harbor Freight, but it keeps you from losing those screws. With a little wiggling, you should be able to get your fingers back there to grab that wire and pull it through carefully, and then bundle it together, put a little zip tie on it to keep things nice and organized and out of the way. This just clips onto the back of the controller once everything's installed, that lower corner there, and it fits perfectly right in there. It snaps in place. Now when we take a look at the old controller, that analog design, old school, look at this. All digital. It's got a few more features on it. For instance, it has a meat thermometer that you can use. It comes with 2 of these, and they just plug into these little plug-ins, and then you'll run that thermometer in. There's a little hole that's already built in to the barbecue itself that you can plug in and can tell you what the temperature of your meat. And then there's controllers such as feed. Now the old one had a feed feature that you turned it on and it just fed the pellets. This one, you turn it on, and once it fires up, there's a little push button, and you'll push the button and hold it in for about 2 or 3 seconds, and it should start the feed feature. And you don't use this all the time. You only use it if everything's empty and you're just filling it for the first time. It'll feed it, and then you'll turn it off, and then in the future, all you have to do is turn it onto the start button, set up whatever temperature that you want. We've got it set right now, cooking, heating up. I think it's right at about 348 degrees on that digital gauge, and then the gauge that came on the lid pretty much mirrors that, so it looks like everything should be working. So we're good to go. Let's cook. For more off-grid projects, home and auto do-it-yourself projects, and survival tips, please subscribe to our channel. TMO Off the Grid.